Hi everyone! I can't believe that. That's day 9 of our summer song challenge. Isn't that crazy? I can't believe it. It's mental. So I wanted to kind of go over our stuff. Remember we were talking about yesterday, guys, for day 8 and everything. We're doing the whole thing. We're going to look at Make Me Feel, but we're trying to go through it, the process that we've outlined from before. From it was days like 1 and 2 and maybe a bit of 3 and whatever. I think yesterday. That we just start from the beginning, do the entire process again, but for the song Make Me Feel. So how are you getting on with it, guys? Remember I was saying about going through bits of it. You want to look at your kind of character list questions and have a think about not just the components of the song, remember, but also question who the character is in the song. I want to look again at like some of the bits of homework. Remember I talked about the chromatic passages that we have to look at, and that's why I was quite keen. I wanted to kind of get to the piano and everything. So if I show you that one of the very first chromatic bits, where you go, baby don't make, oh, see, I got that wrong. Let's see. Baby don't make me spell it out for you. Oh yeah, this kind of feels weird because I'm thinking it's in a different key, but it's not. Baby don't make me spell it out for you. Then we go back from the C down to the B at that bit. Baby don't make me spell it out for you. And then we go, all the feelings that I've got for you can't be explained, but I can cry for you. Yeah, baby, don't make me spell it out for you. I always want to prod like, na, na. And I remember wanting to slide down for you. I'm sorry, I'm getting a warning thing on my low battery on my iPad. So depending on how it goes, I might have to change to my phone or something. So I want to try and look as well about the chromatic passage. Remember higher up when we've got, let's see, it's like I'm powerful with a little bit of tender. So you've got powerful with a little bit of tender. It kind of goes weird, doesn't it? You've got that with a little bit of tender. With a little bit of tender. You've got that kind of weird bit like F sharp and going to a bit of F natural. With a little bit of tender, little bit, what was it? Little bit of tender. Oh, I'll try again. Little bit of tender, little bit of tender. So once on the F sharp, 2 on the F natural. I'm going to slow that down again, guys, so you have a chance to have a practice of it by yourselves. And one other thing I want to think of as well, like looking at the character sheet and going through the question list. That's why I thought of today as the theme of it is being map your message. And that's because I think that particularly with this song, this is a great summer song, this is a great summer anthem, but there's also other kind of themes behind it, because I know from Janelle Monáe that her album is like a kind of concept album, Dirty Computer, isn't it? So I think as part of the research and something that isn't on the character question list for this song, you should really have a listen to the bits of the album. And I'll give you, this is why we have to think about and mapping our message. It's the messages that is in not just the song itself, but in the entire album. So one of the things that really kind of stood out for me when I was having a listen to it and stuff, I was really kind of pleasantly surprised at the first song, because well, it's the name of the album, Dirty Computer, but also noticed that it's a collaboration with Brian Wilson, and I love Brian Wilson, my dad loved him as well, so I thought, oh, that's a nice surprise, that's really cool. But I think that kind of sets the bar of like a high standard of musicianship. But also when you're involving somebody like Brian Wilson and stuff, like he has quite a strong legacy of kind of making political points and messages in his music, you know. Some of them can be quite subtle, and that's not for every song that he does, but there certainly is that kind of theme running through some of his work. I remember in one of the songs, I can't remember the title, but there was quotes from Martin Luther King there. I thought, well, that's pretty obvious. It's talking about, you know, the kind of American civil rights movement and stuff like that, and that's an important kind of running theme through the whole album. And there's quotes in one of the lyrics as well. I'm not America's nightmare, I'm the American dream. And I think that's pretty obvious, like the talking about the instances where there's been violence against black people that have been really unfounded. And that's where we probably to talk about America's nightmare, and that it's common misperception against black people. And that's something that you have to bear in mind, guys, that there's like a kind of political undertones to some of the messages that are here. And so some of the themes, it's about people being treated equally and getting rid of any kind of unnecessary violence, unnecessary bias against somebody. That's something we have to kind of bear in mind with these things. So I'd like you to have a listen, not only to Make Me Feel, but also to the whole album, and it's on free on Spotify and stuff, so it won't cost you anything. I'd like you to have a listen and see what kind of messages and themes that come across for you. You might notice some of the things that stood out for me. You might notice something else that I didn't quite get, or I didn't notice it or something. And it'd be interesting to have a little discussion if there's anything on the Dirty Computer album that really stands out and stuff, you know. And I remember actually there was a bit, and it was talk about like we should have a pussy riot, otherwise they should go on a pussy diet. And I love that. It's about political activism, not for black people, but for that little quote, it was for people being treated as equals for people that are female, and whether that's people that were born female or they identify as female, you know. I thought that's a really good way of talking about it, because it's also a reference. Do you remember the group? I think they were jailed in Russia for doing a political protest. So there is this kind of ongoing theme about fighting for equality, fighting for people to be heard, fighting to like peaceful protest against violence, you know. And as much as for the song Make Me Feel is quite a happy thing, you know, and I'll say like in the sheet music here, the very first bit it says in kind of instructions for the music is Prince inspired funk. Well, you know, Prince was quite often doing like political kind of themes about his songs. I guess maybe it wasn't necessarily political, it didn't come across as political because it was encouraging about people being accepting of each other. It was all about encouraging peace and harmony and all that kind of thing, you know. What was this song that one of the ones that I liked from Prince is Diamonds and Pearls, you know, and I can't remember, there was a bit in it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl, I could give you the world, I want to give you the world, all I can do is just offer you my love. And it was beautiful lyrics in there. So that kind of matches with that theme of if it's Prince inspired funk, then political messages are just it's a legacy, and it's an ongoing theme of Prince's music. And so that matches really well with the other things that I noticed with the other songs in the album. I think the more that you notice it in snippets of different songs throughout the whole album, the more that you'll feel more reassured you're going in the right direction. Please don't just take my word for it. Go and look out for yourself. Go and have a listen for yourself. Tell me what you think. You know, if you think that you totally agree with me, then that's great, and you might notice some other wee bits. That's fine. If you disagree with me, that's totally cool as well. I'm open for, you know, spirited debate, as long as it doesn't end up in like insults or something, you know. But you know, I'm happy to listen to people that have contrary views. If you can have a point, or you can suggest bits that say, oh, I think this maybe goes against what you think, Jane, and that's because listen to this bit, listen to this lyric or whatever, that would be really good as well. So that's a bit of desk work for you for this particular song. It's quite important that you have a little listen to it and everything. What I would say as well for this, you need to have a look at the lyrics sheet for Make Me Feel, as well as having a look at the Spotify playlist. And if you have time tonight would be a great thing, because, well, it's kind of raining outside, isn't it? Have a listen to the album. And what I did actually for some of it, I just had it playing in the background while I was actually typing up the sheets for today. So it was like a bit of multitasking and stuff, but actually worked really well. And the things that stood out for me stood out a lot. It made me stop typing and, oh, hang on, I didn't expect that. You know, it was quite cool. So that's why I think about your homework and stuff today, guys, is thinking about creating your interpretation. You know, like just what we did before? You had your lyric sheet on one hand, where you're having a look, speaking the words like in a script, and you're circling and you're underlining the words that you think you naturally want to emphasize. And on the other hand, you're looking at the character sheets and the questions that I came up with to start helping you think about what your character will be like, you know. Then you're kind of marrying the two together with the interpretation. But actually we've got kind of another layer on top of what we did for a lullaby. And I think it's more important to look at the album in its entirety, to look at the overarching themes for the whole thing, the messages that it has about, you know, encouraging equality, a quality of opportunity, and things to be more like a meritocracy. You see what I mean? But if you disagree, that's totally cool. Please make your point, you know, and tell me you disagree with me. I'm totally open to that. It's fine. So this is the thing as well. When you're looking into the song, we've done some of the buzzing with the jaw. Now we're to kind of do things with, you know, we're doing singing to E vowel, and then we're like singing the vowels and stuff. So let me just kind of do it. I'm going to show you. I hope my battery doesn't run out my iPad, but let's see if it does anyway. We'll just keep going. I'll do like the first little bit, and I'll probably, like, once I've charged up my iPad again, I'll come on here to do another little recording or something. So I'm just going to sing the vowels and stuff, right? So you get a feel. I like that song, it's really cool. So yeah, I was like, oh, expletive. So you might think that's something that you can substitute, okay guys? If you're not so keen on maybe doing a swear, I'd encourage you to maybe do something so good, so good, so good, so real. So you're saying so good like 3 times. That's the thing that I just came up with earlier on today. It seems to work for me fine. Because I think if I tried to substitute for a completely different word, it'd be more difficult for you to memorise that change. But since you're saying so good just before it, just add another one and that'll be fine. It works with the amount of syllables and stuff as well, so it should fit in relatively easily. Thanks guys. I can't believe that we're almost at the end of the challenge. It's a bit nuts, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is go some more of the MP3 exercises that I want you to do with you. Sorry, I didn't quite get around to doing it yesterday, but I'm going to do that right now. I'll upload it onto Google Drive. So for tomorrow, which will be our last day, let's go out for a bang, will we guys? Tomorrow, once I have my iPad charged, I'm going to try and do a performance of the 2 songs, and I'll admit that my memorising is pretty good, but I don't feel like I've got it all, the 2 songs memorised. I've been looking at Make Me Feel today, and I don't really feel like I know much of it at all, so I'm going to have to sit down later on today and just go through it a couple of times, doing the exact same thing that I've asked you guys to do, you know, with the ruler and like taking out words and stuff. In the way that I feel like I know I've got something memorised is when I can just spiel out the words really, really, really quickly, like without the rhythm of the song or anything. I'm just going through it it'll sound like a big long kind of drone or something. So I've got like sheet there. Oh no, I don't. But you say, baby, don't make me spell it out for you. All the feelings that I've got for you, and it's more like speech. But when I've got that pattern in my head, that makes me feel that I've got it. So thanks guys. I'd like to have you do your homework and stuff, so that looking at the interpretation, have a listen to the entire album I really tried to incorporate some of these themes that I mentioned into, you know, it's one thing to sing a happy song like Make Me Feel and just think, oh, it's just blindly happy and that's it. But actually, when you're trying to think of it as you appreciating something positive against a background of having some difficulties, then it's a bit of a slightly different feeling, isn't it? It's a slightly different feeling in how you perform it, but also the kind of messages that you want to convey for particular things as well. I'm going to put in a link after this video, guys, about I made a little survey, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Summer Song Challenge. Do you think that we should do this again? I would love to hear what you think. If there's things that you've enjoyed, things that you think could improve, say like I'd like to definitely do it for next year. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Hey, thanks guys. Have a great rest of your evening. I'll see you soon. Bye.